application. There we are. Okay, so good morning for me and good day to everyone. Um, Today, well, Limited has this title. I wanted to talk about GitOps and Service Mesh, but I think the more core topic for today is a little bit of operators and maybe anything new that we are seeing in the market, new in the way that is not so common on customers. So I wanted to show how we live this on the Red Hat side. I still think this is useful because pretty much every company or provider is trying, well, it's not trying, is implementing this in different way, but at the end are pretty much the same technologies. So what you're going to see on the implementation dashboard or way to work is still something that you are going to find it on Azure, on AWS, on Google. So I think it's going to be still going to be useful. Okay. I call this meeting Tech with Friends because I just wanted to share what I'm what I live day to day. It's a walkthrough, so it's pretty much I'm going to uh, show how this works. By default, this is a new cluster. It's an enterprise Kubernetes cluster. Uh, as a product for us is OpenShift, and I'm going to show you how it works. So um, my objective is get feedback for you. Where are the, I don't know, the things you want to do a drill down or just a double click. In the past, I tried to do a big demo with a lot of stuff and takes too much time. And at the end, I never get the feedback I'm waiting for. So I prefer to do this, just a walkthrough, and you can just point to where is the interesting part that we can continue on the next session. So that's going to be, it's going to be less than an hour. I'm going to try to go fast just because I want to, we have a conversation, okay? It's a Tech with Friends, so in any moment we are free to do any question. I have a few monitors here, so I'm going to see if you raise your hand or write something. So feel free to do it, okay? Okay, then we are going to start. Well, first thing, this is the OpenShift main interface. This is a Kubernetes cluster, so everything you usually do with Kubernetes is going to work. You can connect to the API of this cluster as a common Kubernetes cluster, and you will be able to do any kubectl command that you usually use. What I wanted to show you is a few stuff over the common Kubernetes cluster. One is on the developer side, and the other one is on the administration side. So on developer side, what we have is a view for developers where a lot of customers really like this because it's a really easy way to look up your deployment. So usually when you talk about Kubernetes, are just like black screens, or maybe if someone has a nice diagram, I don't know, publishing on Lucidchart or something, is going to be more easy to catch, but usually you don't have like a live view about your containers. On OpenShift, you have this one, and it's a really nice view because it has a really has a lot of uh, view tools that are connected to the implementation. For example, if I click on any of these ones, are pods on, and inside of this pod, I can see the main resources of Kubernetes that are related to this pod. So I can check the pod itself, the logs on the pods, the service are the service where you can connect to these pods, And on this case, well, I'll just pick this one, but I don't have any route. Routers on OpenShift, as was we usually call um, the is pretty much the we have like a default ingress controller where we can connect to our services and then our pod. So usually on Kubernetes by default you don't have a way to expose a service to the world. You need to add an ingress controller or any tool that leave you exposed like a balancing layer to the world. By default on OpenShift, you have that solved. So you can just, with a few clicks or commands, create a router that is going to be the point, the entry point for your applications. Okay, and is integrated all the monitoring. Usually on Kubernetes, by default, you don't have like monitoring and logging. By default on OpenShift, it has, so you can check all the memory usage, the pretty common resources, and to the events on the cluster. So if you're failing to get your image, if your pod is starting, if you have uh, any events that um, uh, um, a not normal action inside the cluster, you're going to have this event register, because by default this is connected to Prometheus, an alert manager, um, and Grafana. So you're not seeing, but you are using this tool that make you have all this information. So in the Kubernetes world, in all the market, it's really well known that that tools works very well with Kubernetes, but usually you need to install and integrate it. Here is integrated by default. What else? You can have a view for the whole project. OpenShift project is a grabber for namespace. It's namespace plus some stuff that are useful that implements OpenShift. So you can see like in a whole namespace, um, what is the total consume of all my pods in a namespace. So you can have like a overall or an overview of the resources you're using. What else? Is integrated with Helm, so you can have your Helm charts directly integrated in this console. So it's good because usually you have like some tooling for your doing your deployment with the Kubernetes. Then you have a Helm maybe in a Bastion server, on a Pivot server, or maybe you have that integrated with Jenkins or something else. In this case, if you are doing simple things and doing testing or something like, in the developer side, you want to try a lot of stuff. So you don't want to depend to a lot of platform to do some simple things. So you can directly install Helm from here and have a nice catalog about what you want to deploy. So if a friend of you connect to this cluster and load some health chart, is going to be saved on the catalog, and other ones can reuse it. For example, I need to install a Postgres, but I know this is already in the catalog. I'm going to see it in the catalog and using it easily. What else? We have a NAT. I really like this tab we have on OpenShift, because for developers, you want to try new stuff and don't have much barriers about what they wanted to use. So we have a catalog that is already integrated with the OpenShift, but still you can use directly consume something from Git. You can use a deb file that today are like a kind of template to deploy developer stuff. You can point directly to an image container. For example, by default, OpenShift is connected to Red Hat Quay and um, Docker Hub. So if that image already are on those registry, you will be able just to pull any that image and run it. And when I say run it, it's not that you have to create and a deployment, a service, a router, a secret, a volume. The only thing you need then the only instruction you need to send it to an OpenShift is just the direction, the URL of the container. So if OpenShift knows there is a container image, he knows that needs to create a related deployment to that and a service, pretty much the base things that you need on Kubernetes. So that's one of the things I really like on OpenShift, that it simplifies a lot what you need to do on Kubernetes space. So we have a new people. Can you help me with that, Sergey? So the other really nice like feature I really like, you can pull stuff from Git. And when I say Git, it's not like you need a repo with with a how to say, you don't need a repo with all the Kubernetes objects. You pretty much need a repo with an app. So on OpenShift, there is another open source tool that is source to image. Source to image is pretty much something that identify an application context, for example, a Java application, uh, on the root folder or wherever you point on that repo is going to look for a POM file. In the Java cases, is going to look for a package.json for JavaScript frameworks, and it's going to look, I don't know, maybe a Go file, for example, if it is a Go application. So it has the intelligence to know or try to identify what kind of application is in that repository. So if you give just a repo with a POM file, it's going to say, okay, this is a Java. I'm going to pick a Java container. I'm going to inject this. I'm going to build it. I'm going to generate a binary, and I'm going to send them to a new container, a new runtime container for Java. So pretty much on OpenShift, you can just send like, my application is going to name something. Here is the repo, and he's going to deploy this for you. Okay, he's going to create the build, the deploy container, the runtime container, the services, and the router if you want it. So I think for a developer that is new and want to start working with Kubernetes, just asking him, where is your code, is a really nice scenario, because in other cases you need to tell to the guy like, you need to learn Docker, Postman, whatever you want, but you need to work with containers. Then you need to learn Kubernetes. Then you probably need to learn tooling, Linux, REST services, get used to the console and stuff like that. And probably after a few weeks, he's going to be able to pick a normal code of Java that he runs on his computer into a Kubernetes cluster. With this, you can just, in a day, in a minute, have your developer working on Kubernetes. So I think that is really cool. And of course, it's going to be happy to have something like this. It's going to be happy that if you want to create a netcore application, this is here. If you want to deploy a code that works on Apache HTTP servers, it's going to be here. If it's working with PHP, Python, and a lot of framework and platform, uh, he will just need to do some clicks. For example, if he already used Jenkins file, he can just pick a template and instantiate a template of Jenkins. Really good to go. So in resume, for developers, there is a lot of tooling and ways to work. from Dockerify, for example, or the YAML, something like that. Um, and two, they have the possibility to work with Tekton, that is the new pipelines by default, like native Kubernetes pipeline. So they are here too. So please take notes if you're interested on any of these topics, the way to deploy. If, for example, you want to see a demo deploying stuff from Git directly or for containers directly, we can do that. So at the end of the session, I will just pick like all the ideas in the chat, probably in the week, do maybe a votation. We will decide what we are going to do. We are going to look for the next session. Okay, so far so good. Any question, people? And I need to do the pause for just to drink something and record my voice. Okay, don't be shy. Remember, touch with friends. This is just my friend Sergio speaking stuff. So please, just any concern, any doubt, just say it or write it whenever is better for you. Okay. I'm going to change to our administrator perspective. Okay. So usually you're going to have the developer team, the people who uh, use the cluster for deliver workloads. And then you're going to have a team. Today, I don't know, some places SRE teams or just administrators, but you are going to have people who is more concerned about the nodes, the pods, the storage, the resources, the monitoring, if the cluster is working well, where is the cluster? For example, this one is working on AWS. One of the good things about OpenShift is we are not a provider of infrastructure. So we provide an enterprise Kubernetes, and pretty much all the cloud providers are working with Kubernetes. So you can pick OpenShift and use it in any cloud provider. We have like a partnership with Azure and AWS, IBM too, of course. So you can just this flavor of Kubernetes on any of these cloud providers, and you can have OpenShift. Or you can install by yourself if you want to have like 100% of control of the cluster, if you think that is useful for you. But if not, you can add for AWS, and they will be like the administrators for this platform. You will not uh, need anything to concern about the cluster itself. Okay. Um, so on this perspective, I'm going to have a quick view on the home. So in the overview, you can personalize this, of course, but usually is like the overview is pretty much to see how healthy is your cluster. Okay. I really like these alerts because this is connected to the Insight platform for Red Hat. So there is a lot of issues that you will be see here that only needs a click to be solved. Okay. For example, doing an update on OpenShift is really easy because from OpenShift 4 we are working with Core OS. Okay, so if you don't know what is Core OS, I will leave the link, but it's pretty much a Linux system that is optimized for cloud and works with the machine state config. Um, how to say it? Is a way to work where you define your Linux is going to have an state. So you're not going to connect to this Linux to install something or some file. You're going to say that the state for the machine you need. So the CoreOS uh, behind the OpenChip, the operating system is basically managed with OpenChip. So if OpenChip needs a binary in the Linux system, is going to define a machine state that is pretty much a config file. This config file uh, is synchronized with the operating system. So we are like our machine or virtual machine with this operating system works pretty much like a container. You say, this is my specification, this is the desired state, and I want my Linux update to that state. So you never go to a CoreOS machine to do so. Even is not it's not allowed. If you go to a CoreOS machine and you do some change, the CoreOS check that some file were changed and say, I am in a, well, not corrupted state, but I'm not in the desired state, and send the warning, and is not able to do any update till you fix that. So in the OpenShift perspective, on the Kubernetes perspective, that is really cool because you say, okay, I'm going to upgrade my OpenShift cluster. I'm going to update my Kubernetes downside. And I need to update all these components that at the end are just a definition, a desired state for the operating system. So it's make really safe to do and maintain Kubernetes. If we want to check it, if, like how it works from the administrator perspective, they're going to see, okay, on this version, already there is all the version available. I can jump on this one and just click on update, and the OpenShift cluster working with CoreOS is going to do the rest. So I think it's really nice because at least I leave the upgrades from last version of Kubernetes and OpenShift. And I have to say, in some cases, was like a lot of day of working. Some customers usually avoid updating too too often. So I don't know, a customer that passed more than a year without updating anything is going to have, like, I don't know, can be a few months updating and certifying everything is working fine, or jumping from version to version. So having this for now is a save a lot of time. I have to say, a lot of time and business continuity. So it's a really nice feature from my perspective. And you have this, like the branch, what is the where you're going to jump, the details. So the interface is too nice for administrators. Behind, yes, this is use a lot of cluster operators, and cluster operators is the new thing I'm going to jump up, because it's one of the main things I want to show you are what operators are. Okay, so I'm going to close that. I'm going to start talking about operators. Okay, well, the concept of operators is pretty much that, but not uh, is trying to put a role of an operator, the usual people that you ask for, I don't know, to install something, updating something, changing some configuration, doing anything you need on your platform to keep going. Okay, so operator are that, but in an automated way, and in a standard way. So in the open source, the operator project let the people who provide products, platforms, middleware to implement with developer kit, where you pretty much can implement like an operator that is I'm going. It's not that, but maybe a simple way to understand it is a automated script that can deploy, update, uh, change configurations, uninstall, or do anything you need on your product. Okay, you can use Go script. You can just doing a programming on Go. You can use Helm charts. You can use Ansible. So it's pretty flexible on what framework language you're going to implement this script, this automation. But it's inside on a framework, on a standard way to implement it. And this standard way to implement it is integrated and native for Kubernetes to work. Okay. Why? Well, pretty much because at the end you're using a control plane that knows how to load operator and, and deploy it on your Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So after that, operators create operator hub. So the open source project start open an operator hub because uh, if we are going to have a standard way to operate our products, we need to be available for the public. So think that you are maybe a company that has his product, maybe a monitoring solution, maybe a database solution, maybe any kind of solution. So you usually have a document with the step to step to install the product, and then you transform that step and manual process to an operator, and then you can publish that operator here, and anyone that use operators and has installed this control plane for operators on his Kubernetes cluster is going to be able to come here and use that operator and use it on his cluster. So, for example, we have here provider like VMware, we have like a IBM, we have like pretty much a lot of companies, big companies that have a product and they publish this here and let you use it and install it. So this saves a lot of time because you you are not going to need like an expert on a consultant on an engineer that um, go with you to check that you do it well, to certify that is implemented in the right way and is working well. Okay, you just need to pick this and install it and use it. Maybe you're going to have more issues about how to use it because the operator has like different um, approach or concepts to use the product itself. But let's say that all the installation, preparation, and validation is going to be like a lot of easier. Okay, so that is the operator, like in a in a really quick words, and I'm going to show you like operators that we already have on this cluster. For example, I already installed the Red Hat operator for GitOps from like a few months, I think for March, maybe the end of February. Red Hat released the GitOps operators. But what is this GitOps operator? Well, this GitOps operator is pretty much Argo CD, app projects, application, and application sets. I don't know if you're being in the conversation in Ortelius, but we've been talking a lot of application set and Argo CD. So this operator like pick or have the main tooling you need to work with the GitOps concept and is going to do the work for you for installing every one of these tools, and it's going to make you easy to configure and start and be being ready to go and use it. For example, after I configure this operator, I can go, for example, in the Argo CD side, and I can instantiate an Argo CD. I can create an Argo CD just clicking here. For example, I already create one because you can, Argo has the ability to take definitions and put it in place and have this and have a synchronization between the definitions and what is deployed. But you can scale Argo to connect a lot of Argos working with different clusters and different providers. So you can have Argo works with Argo to do like work at scale. So uh, if I'm working with the operator, I don't need to go to the Helm chart, to the script that installed, taking the YAMLs for installation. You need just to click here, just fill the main information. Where are you going to deploy it? If you're going to integrate with something, like you can integrate it with Grafana, with customized version. You can uh, already tell that use some application set that you already have to deploy, and pretty much just fill a form. So if you feel like this is like too constrained to OpenShift, you're always going to have the ability or the functionality to just upload your channels. So we already have a definition for Argo CD, because this is a custom resource definition. So we hope if you already have a custom resource definition for Argo CD, you will be able just to copy paste it here, or if you feel comfortable just working directly with the channel, you will be allowed to. And then you just click create, and this will be deployed on your cluster. On our case is what we will I start showing on the developer perspective. So I can go to the GitOps, because by default, the operator is going to create a project for you without GitOps. And I can see all the things I am being instantiated. For Argo CD, he already installed my Redis, my GitOps server, my pretty much all the components I need to work with Argo CD. And even more, he has the ability to operators can embed directly the URLs and the routers that expose your application and tell you that is ready to use it. So in my case, after doing the create button, I just go to these apps shortcuts, go to the Argo CD. We are good to go to use it. Pretty simple. And then here is Argo. So if you are being using Argo, you will be ready to work with it. If this is interesting for you, take the note, propose it at the end, and we can have a session like how I can do application set, and manage clusters inside of Argo. Okay, I'm going back to demonstration perspective. Um, and to maybe to be more fun, I'm going to pick a operator, because I said we were going to have a GitOps session and a service mesh session. So we are going to install service mesh, because I tell you that we are going to do that, and it's going to be fun to check how is the operator process, is the operator installation process. So we can have here like more mesh solution. We are going to take the OpenShift service mesh that is provided by Red Hat, but you can use another. I like it to work with Red Hat. We are never like um, we are not to put just our solutions. We are going to put like for other companies an open source solution if you want to use it. So never you're going to be like strictly needed to work just with Red Hat solutions. Okay, so you can keep here. There is some stuff from Citrix. You can use Kiali if you like to use Kiali or another service mesh. For today, we're just going to use service mesh. Here on the description of the operator is really fun, because not all the operators do the same. Operators have like maturity levels. So this capability level, it will let you know how advanced is your operator. In this case, this operator is able to do a basic install and is able to update this installation. But there is other operation that has like a full life cycle managed, so they can add and remove components, for example. um, they have a lot of more tooling inside the same operator to have, like, I don't know, monitoring, self healing, alerting itself, so you don't need to depend on of tooling you have on your cluster. And like the more mature level is with autopilot. Autopilot on operator is pretty much uh, a so intelligent operator that is going to update with it, ask you if it finds some bug and there is a patch available, it's going to do it. Is able to recover for problems. So that's we call autopilot. It's pretty much you don't need to take care about your platform, your operator, because the operator is pretty much going to solve or do anything that is needed to have this work. So this is level 2 in the capability level table, but it's like good enough to at least save you time installing and updating. So we just choose install. We are, you can pick, like, if you want to do the stable channel, like any product. By default, you can pick if you want to be available in all your cluster, so all namespaces, or in some cases, I don't know, maybe it's not allow your company to have something that is taking information for every namespaces. So you can just, if it's not the situation, you can just pick one namespace and install all allowed to work with that namespace. Okay. And for the approval strategy, I usually would automatic, because if I'm stable, I don't concern that he's like updating and deploying new version of the same platform. So that's pretty much all you need to install and operate. Of course, this I'm doing here with this interface is pretty much something you can do on commands. Uh, Probably commands are more standard and you can use it in any cluster. Uh, but I don't know. It's fun to at least for the educational purpose, just do clicks and use the interface because it's easy to understand. So after this operator is installed, you see it's really quick. You can view your operator as the same I show you with the GitOps, and then you can start creating instance. So for a service mesh, you pretty much need the control plane, that is like the manager who is going to um, add and watch things inside your mesh. You need to add members. Remember that a service mesh, you inject data on the deployed objects, and then sidecars do the work to add it to the mesh. So you need to add members to know to serve the mesh. Okay, for all my mesh, I'm going to add this project, for example, to my mesh. Then you can create member roles, because you need to manage what you can do and some projects. Service Mesh has a lot of capabilities, but not necessarily you want to use it all in a project. Sometimes you just need to, I don't know, control access. Maybe you need to mutual TLS, like securing the connections, or maybe you just need traceability, stuff like that. So it's really useful to have a membership and a role definition for what you need in every place. So you can create a new instance. For example, by default, we need to do the control. We need the control plane. Okay. By default, you're never been using. You can just leave it like that, because it's pretty much just asking you for the name, and this from the side is just going to put like the default spec that you need. So it's going to say, okay, for you're going to need Jaeger, Istio, and we need to allow some resources. That's pretty much. If you are an advanced user of control service mesh, probably you want to add everything, like like Kali, for example. There for behind you are going to use things like Citadel, um, Envoy. Well, there is a lot of components you can personalize and use it here. But if you are an advanced user, you can do it. You can put it here, or you can go to the form view if you are new, and you are going to have a nice form, like web form of what you want to create and what you want to configure. And he is going to do the work to translate this to the YAML at the end. So, for example, here is the telemetry, connection, proxies, gateways, class configurations, and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going just to put create. And I need the specification lit for the definition for my extra cluster. Okay, let me go back, create a new. So by default, if not join this, okay, I'm going to skip this. Maybe you are asking, okay, this is not looks so easier. How would you do it to install this? Well, all the products have Red Hat and has a guide. So, for example, the guide installation for Service Mesh is going to tell you that all the steps I already do it, and on this side is going to tell you what are the mandatory fields you need to fill, and it's going to give you a recommendation. All that is in the documentation of the product. So it's really easy to follow and do it. I didn't pick the document for installing right now, so I'm just going to skip. But yeah, on the beginning, you're not going to know everything, but usually the product documentation is going to save you in the first try at least. Okay, so if you want to see working service mesh, again, take a note. We are going to we can do a session just to deploy some applications and maybe do some tracing or TLSing, or I don't know, uh, access control. That's pretty much like the normal thing you want to do it with the service mesh. Okay. Well, I'm going to do a pause over here. So, question, people, comments, anything lead me at least take a little coffee. Same, you have a lot of experience with Kubernetes platform.
Yeah,
So give me your
yes,
opinion.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I think the dashboard is OpenShift has. I think that's UI is wonderful, pretty understandable. What things are there, what things are easily understandable. So UI based things. But I think Kubernetes itself is a learning curve behind these and the service mesh technologies and the Git.
Yes. To clarify, we are like here we are looking like examples. Example of GitOps, example of service mesh, but remember that are concepts. And there is a lot of tools here that are going around, and it's good to give a chance. For example, for Arvin, like we were talking these days about Docker. Docker is a tool for manage containers, and it's a good tool. But with time, there is the needs are changing, and there is different roles or people that are using this tooling. So there is always good to try to pick the right tool that met your requirement. For example, service mesh is the same. It was like one of the first like mesh, popular mesh, but today we can have other mesh that are good in different conditions. For example, some people need a mesh, a performance mesh, and don't need a mesh that do too much. Or maybe you need a mesh just for tracing, or just for having a version of TLS over your connection in your on your containers, something like that. So this is like a taste about some of the tools that are over there, some way to use it. But yeah, always the message is try to pick the concept, pick if you need a mesh, pick if you need GitOps, um, and look at the open source space, what is going around, and at least give a try for two tooling platform that that are there doing in their own way the things, and just be sure that is the closest closer than what you need. Okay, that's like pretty much the message. We are here like using this as example, but we are in an open source community and the possibilities are a lot.
Yes, absolutely. I think what I say, I haven't get a chance to explore more about the OpenShift kind of things because I need some kind of a full month to investigate more about these kind of stories, what the happening inside the OpenShift. But I see the Red Hat, there are so many things. The Red Hat, their own builds, their container runtimes, their build-time images. They have when they learn from the experience of the Docker how they did these kind of things, and then they reinvent these tools, and they are a very confined way of how the Docker works and how the else part of the work. And I'm really happy that the community is moving to these other container runtimes and container image building kind of scenarios. So in the pipelines area, I see the pipelines, task, and triggers. So in these pipelines, let's say, because I have worked with previously talked with the Tecton team and Argo CD. So can I use these community-driven pipelines and open source CI/CD, cloud-native CI/CDs technologies like Tectons and Argo workflows, or some other like GitHub Action, or might be some other CI/CD system. So in these pipelines, can I use these systems as well, or Red Hat provide their own built-in pipelines?
That's a really nice question. Yeah. Okay. So, well, Red Hat is an open source company, so always I'm going to say like today, this is the situation, but all Red Hat is always like working to add more open source solution to any platform that we manage. Okay. So in this case, as you see, we are using Tecton API version. So this is Tecton. By default, we are supporting Tecton. In the last versions of OpenShift, on OpenShift 3, the core pipelines was Jenkins pipeline. So by default, we were just using YAMLs with embedding Jenkins file, or we're just using like a slaves of Jenkins executing pipeline. So that was like the two main options that you can work on Kubernetes cluster on OpenShift. So today you can pick both. We are always going to recommend on OpenShift for Tecton because we are like is our mainstream and we are investing a lot of giving support on this. And for the Argo side and the triggers and a lot of today we are working a lot with the uh, driven events. So I think we have I will not say confusion, but there is a little overlapping with pipelines and even sourcing. Okay, so a lot of times we are using even sourcing to trigger pipelines. Uh, but for Red Hat, that is more in the GitOps side. Okay, so you can use trigger from GitHub for any event in the most common open source cloud solutions, but it's going to be integrated with Argo. So the actual operator of Argo, has his triggers, has his connection to take um, driven events from clouds events. Um, and in the Tecton side, there is still a group of triggers, but this is, as you see, is in text preview. It's in text preview for two reasons. The main reason is because it's super new, and there is no specification. Just there is like group of popular um, connectors, for saying some way, or kind of triggers that you want to add to your pipelines, to your Tecton pipelines. Okay, so isn't the text preview, and I know I cannot answer you right now from the community, from the Tecton community triggers, what is the amount of that triggers that are already working on OpenShift? Because usually we try to support everyone, but always we are a few steps behind of what the community is delivering. Okay, so probably here's going to work for the most popular one. All the triggers for the cloud provider, for the Git providers, or for the DevOps two more popular tooling probably are going to work here. Okay, but I haven't matched like what is in the open source community at what is already certified on Red. I haven't did I haven't do that at this point.
And okay, and before, so last question from my side, Sergio. Then anybody else can ask question yourselves. So one more thing, I see there are container imaging scanning tools out there. I
Yeah.
recently discovered a new tool that's called Cosine, and they can scan the images and turn out the vulnerabilities. And this is you can turn it by default. If somebody pushes the images to the container registry, first it's checked that the container is already signed, and then it puts the images into the container registry. So do these kind of let's say integration points are right now in the OpenShift, and if they have, where do I find those?
Okay. OpenShift on the race, yeah, this functionality by default in OpenShift is integrated with Quay. So Quay is work as default registry for doing all the scanning and notification about CV or anything you need to do. Even more, if you go to container, let me share this container catalog. Share the share this. So this is like the web interface, public interface that you can check, but this is pretty much how the registry, the default registry for Red Hat works. So this is like the web interface, but it's pretty much the same what OpenShift use. So you're going to have all the available images. You can add images for your site to Quake, but this is pretty much what it does. Has an overview, has a security like a review, where A is the most the best state for your image, and has like a technical information about all the definition of the manifest on the image. The packages are installed, what is going to be upgraded. If use a Docker file to be built, it has the Docker definition and has all the recommendation to get this image, to use it like an a standalone, consume it from your OpenShift or consume it locally. This is pretty much all like the features that we have on the registry side. You can connect to the API for example, all the advisory result of this. You can take decisions. This is like the default, the default way, but OpenShift let it has like the custom configuration to add if you want to decide to use another registry, you can use it. It's just a configuration on OpenShift. So I don't know if we have a list like supported configuration for some platform, but at least I know that any registry that use HTTPS or Docker protocol is going to be good to work. Um, but yeah, I think that are the cases. And for the other side, when you want to like integrate this in quality case and stuff like that, I will say that is going to be the normal pipelines that invoke all the integration services and do the validations and take decision, but that is just is more like an custom pipeline implementation on your Kubernetes cluster. The default way to work on Red Hat is with this.
Yes, absolutely. I like the UI, and I think it has many of the things are already in there. But I will work on that. And let's say if I see something missing and I want to provide a feedback, what are the ways to provide the feedback?
I don't really know. I don't really know. But yeah,
Okay.
I take your point, and yeah, I will like to know like all the
Yes,
other
absolutely.
alternatives we have, and what are like, because always the other tools has like a really nice feature that are good to know, because that's the way we can improve like on comparing their solutions. But yeah, I to be honest, I think I haven't digging that much on the quality gates for images, for example. So I think it's a really good tool to have. So people,
Yes,
just
absolutely.
have a look.
So I try to feedback you in the next time in the future. So I'm getting off. Next, everybody can ask question. What you have.
Okay, I think we are on time, people. I'm just going to give 3 more minutes to pass 5 minutes. So go ahead. This is the moment. So Arvin, I see like a good part here. Yes, sorry if I don't spell or pronounce like their names. And Karam here, but any question, people?
Yeah, I don't have any questions, Sergio, but yeah, thanks a lot for the session. I mean, I joined a little late, so I kind of missed first 15 minutes I was traveling. So I'm looking forward to the recording so that I can, I mean, correlate the parts that I missed. But yeah, all in all, thanks a lot for the session, and looking forward uh, for for another one. Or I can definitely rewatch the recording and will try out the stuff.
Thank you for being here. Yes, we are ending with the recording in a few minutes, and we are going to share right now. I'm not going to edit. As I say, this is a really informal and friendly presentation, and I hope to keep in that way. So yeah, it's going to be available. I just need to download it and upload it probably to the Ortelius channel. You will see the notification on Discord. So all good.
So
Okay,
Sergio, I think
friends.
for next time we can decide. Uh, uh, I think it's open for everyone, no? So anybody
Yeah.
can join. So next time when you do it, let me share with my Cloud Native Islamabad community Discord server. So I hope then more people can join. And also I will try to share that on the tweet. And because some of the people who are already in that domain, like somebody have domains of the Argo CD or Tecton, they might give us a very useful feedback so that we can portray this feedback to the or Red Hat or OpenChef team. And I think you can create some kind of a Google sheet form so we can later share with the community what sort of workflow you want to run on the OpenShift and Red Hat, especially
Cool.
on OpenShift.
Yeah, I
So,
hope. Yeah, I really like what you're saying. Saying everyone who want to join to this session and put any tool or way to improve what we're doing is going to grow as we want. So I really like to have the I really like the idea to have more people here. For example, you some I'm not. I don't. I really think it's really hard that one people knows so much things that are happening in the open source space and the cloud space. So it's going to be a lot better if we have a lot of experts here that can take some of the question and have a better answer, right? I would say that the better answer is in the right person. So more people is going to be able to have more better answer to everyone. Arvin, tell
Yeah,
me, my
I
friend.
want to ask that how to get started with service measure and offensive. What are the requirements for them?
Cool,
That is
cool. Okay, so I thought we were going to have time to discuss that in the same session, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to share in Discord, probably a Menti, like for everyone can send a topic or maybe a form, but at the end, I want to catch, first step is catch all the topics, like the one you say, Arvin, and then back, we are going to probably do a popular votation just to pick the order for the next session or something like that. Okay. So I'm going to do that offline on Discord server. And right now I'm going to say goodbye for this moment. Thank you for being here. I'm going to share the recording and hope you see you in the next session.
it's
So
okay.
have a good
Thank
day,
you.
friends. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.